Mic check, man. Morning Masters podcast was made, of course. I'm back with another Thinking Out Loud. It's raining, so if y'all hear any kind of thunder and rain, definitely just disregard that. I did not plan for that today. But anyway, first and foremost, I want to thank all the supporters, all the listeners, week in, week out, day in, day out, that share the post, that like the post, that share it with feedback, give me feedback, email me on whether Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, Apple. For the strangers who share my posts, I don't know. We're not friends on Facebook. We have no kind of social media following whatsoever, but they share it and they promote it and they love the podcast. Shout out to y'all. The emails, the YouTube comments, the people who go binge watch on YouTube after seeing one particular podcast they like and they go back and watch 5 or 10 podcasts and give me these feedback. Definitely appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. Any fan, any listener, any supporter. I don't like saying fan. I always say supporter. That's just what I like to do. I get a lot of flack for that. People say, nah, they fans. Nah, I just always say support because y'all don't have to support. You know what I'm saying? I know how hard it is to support a podcast because it's somebody talking for a certain amount of time, interview question style. Sometimes it can be mundane or it can get boring. But yeah, definitely shout out to y'all. Anytime I start my Thinking Out Louds, I always want to give the praise to the listeners because y'all will keep me going. You know, like when I get them, it's nothing more satisfying than that first comment that say, "Oh, this was good," and tell me why. Or just this was good, regardless of what. It pushes me to keep going and keep giving y'all this great content. With that being said, I'm looking a little bright today, so sorry. Also, I'm looking a little bright today. I'm gonna get into that first. Shout out to my guys at Netgear. They finally gave me the jacket. It's really my fault. I ain't gonna lie. I waited a long time to pick it up, but then I picked it up and I waited a long time to do a video. I didn't want to be like everybody else and do a Thinking Out Loud on January 1st or December 31st or the first week. I wanted to wait some time and get myself together before I actually came back on camera with a Thinking Out Loud. I didn't want to do it the regular way. I'm not regular, so I try to be as unique as possible. So with that being said, shout out to them, man. A little more message jacket. This dope jacket, it feel good. I feel a little bigger. I feel like try me, it was good. But I like the back of it is fire, but I'm about to turn around because I'm shooting different. This is a 4K video. If y'all can tell a difference, please let me know. I never shot in 4K before. I can't even see that well because I have to put the camera a little further back because it's zoom. It's a lot of extra stuff that go into 4K. I need a camera, guys. That's what I need. But yeah. But I want to talk to y'all about a few things real quick. I'm gonna end on a serious note, but I definitely want to get into the fun stuff first. Like I do every year, I want to have the listeners, the supporters. I want to have y'all input on who's gonna be on the show, on the podcast, who y'all want to see. So whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether it's my inbox, give me some dope guests you want to see on and tell me why. Why is very important. The why is important mainly because when I started More Than a Masters, and I always want to get better year by year. So the why is important because it has to be a why they embody something to do with the podcast title being More Than a Masters. I just recently, which is out right now as I'm talking, it's already premiering on Facebook. I just did a podcast yesterday. My turnaround time is crazy too. I did a podcast today, edited it, put it out, and a snippet out today, and I put some on my story, and I put it on Facebook. I'm doing the damn thing. Anyway, so I did a person who works in urgent care, and with the rises in COVID right now, I wanted to talk to her about that. So even that is a big embodiment of More Than a Master because in the Master, we have these big COVID rises. We do have these great healthcare workers. Just the healthcare knowledge in Georgia in general is a big deal. In Augusta in general is a big deal. So that embodies that. So the why always matter. The why for the guests always matter. I do want to reach out to South Carolina and just the surrounding areas because they are a part of Augusta. Like whether you like it or not, the Edgefield, South Carolina, Columbia, even to Columbia, South Carolina, like the outskirts of Augusta are very, very deeply rooted in Augusta as well. Whether you're talking about Jefferson County, Burke County, Rennes, Lincolnton, Lewis, all those places are definitely embodiments of the Augusta and the Masters area. So if you got somebody from that, from there that wanted to talk, I'm down. But I want to get my supporters feedback on that ASAP just for the year so I can map it out. Always ask, and then from that list, I usually out of a list about 20, I usually get about 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 people up that list that wasn't on my radar already to get on. So it's always dope. So I'll share a part of this and I'll put that on my Facebook page to ask y'all who y'all want on the show. So if you want somebody in the podcast that you feel like is dope, just put a comment, tag them, tell me why. If you don't know why, just say because they dope. That's cool. I don't really need a why, but, it's just dope to have that why so I can say, I might be intrigued to want to, push the envelope on doing that particular person, podcasting. And just having something to talk about. One thing I want to discuss is I never really tell anybody no they shouldn't be on a podcast, but I definitely will negate you to where I feel like, or navigate you rather to where I feel like what you trying to do is more suited. Obviously, everybody know I do more than one podcast, so I got the Main and Slim. You still, if we ever want to bring back up, we got Fire and Ice. I got the one my guy Juanito. I'm doing the timeline. So depending on what you trying to get out there, that's how I'm going to play it. Everything is not going to be a More Than the Masters type of podcast, right? You might have a more jestful podcast. You might have a more, if it's informative, then yeah, cool. But it might be suited for another audience. And I never want to just confuse my audience with the content that we putting out. And I also want to confuse your fan base or what you're doing to the people when they putting out. So I never say no. If you feel like I'm ignoring you or I feel like I ain't giving you the I don't know, the energy I gave somebody else, those could be reasons why. But I always will tell you like, hey, maybe not this one, but let's do this, let's do that. That's just how I always am. Whether you take it the wrong way or not, that's really solely up to you. But everybody know me. I'm accessible. So that's why if I've ever ignored you, that's probably why. Because I just felt like you weren't really suited at the time for it. Because I'm a big believer in this, right? I feel like it's a time and place for everything. So it's people that I've been looking at on my radar for like 2 years that we could have been did a podcast. And we finally did it. Boom. Time was perfect. Everything was right. And it was perfect. I just did somebody 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, Miss Tiana, who had the Cookie Palace. And I wanted to do I wanted her to do my podcast about 8 months ago. I'm glad I didn't because she had only been 2 months in, but she was grinding so hard. I felt like she'd been doing it for a long time. But had we did it 2 months in, it's less questions to ask. It's less responses. She ain't been through enough to actually fully talk about it. She wasn't ready to be talking about it. So it's not always a push off like, hey, no, I don't want you on. Sometimes it's just like, it's more so for you. Like you're not really ready for this particular one. Let's get you on here, or let's get you to, do this first type of thing. So that's what it'll be. But I'll say all to say, anybody that got somebody that want to get on, definitely had to hit me up. If anybody that want to start a podcast, they want to just come and sit in, I'm always down for that. I'm a open arms type of person. I don't feel like there's ever no competition with any of this media stuff. We can do the same guests. I'm very confident in myself, and I feel like me and you could do the same guests, but what man gonna get out of them and what you gonna get out of them, it's gonna be two different things. And I'm fully confident what I'm gonna get out of them. So I've never ever closed the door or like stop the opportunity for a fellow podcaster or a fellow person in media. That has never been my thing. I've always been open door. I will give you all the knowledge. You can come here and watch it, look at all my equipment. You can see which one is it. Check serial numbers. You can do whatever you want to do to get your knowledge in here. All I ask is that you take the art seriously, because I take it very seriously. And that's all I've ever asked. All right, so that's that. And I just wanted, like I said, with the new year, I wanted to kind of get just to get my people involved, my listeners involved, because y'all support me to the fullest. Y'all buy the sweatshirts, y'all buy the shirts, y'all buy stuff. Y'all want merch. Y'all be forcing me to make certain merch. I don't care about merch. I don't care about it. But y'all be wanting it, and I like delivering it. It's something about people like really just supporting you, pushing you, wanting you to do better for no reason at all. Some of y'all I don't even know personally at all. And y'all inbox me, hey, let me get that. Hey, you selling those? You should sell those. Let me buy that one from you. Can I get that from you? I had hats. People trying to buy the hat from me. I'm like, it's my hat. It's the personal hat. I don't really sell hats. Well, how much for that one? I don't even know you, but that's dope. Like, I applaud that. I appreciate that. And I don't take none of that for granted, which is why every time I do one of these, I thank the listeners and I thank him. And that's why anytime somebody got something that, if I don't know you, but I feel like you've been supporting me, even if you haven't, but if I feel like you have, I'm going to push you and support you as well, because I'm definitely big on reciprocity. So with that being said, I wanted to get into something a little different, and I'm not gonna be on here long because I am shooting in 4K. I don't know if it's gonna stop or not. And I don't want to be editing for too long because that's a big file. 4K is a huge file. With a heavy heart, I'm gonna say, last night as I was recording the podcast, once I got done, I'm editing it. I'm on Facebook. Social media be the devil sometimes, man. I promise you. I'm on Facebook and I see that 8-year-old girl was shot and was had life-threatening injuries. Right. By the time I checked it, though, that particular kid / individual had passed away. It was in Southside, and it wasn't alleged. This is just a report. I don't know. Just alleged. It was a drive-by shooting. And that's sad, like I got 2 daughters. I can't imagine 10 and 5. I can't imagine. This girl was 8 years old. I can't imagine. I posted something about it just saying, even minding your business ain't even safe no more. And it's never been safe, but, and I posted that out of respect just to, put it out there. But like I said, this is a Thinking Out Loud, right? So hopefully this is a free space. And I want to say first and foremost, my condolences to the family and anybody involved in that situation that is suffering a loss, because that's a great loss to suffer. Once again, I can't imagine. Wouldn't want to imagine. But my mind be racing. My mind thinks. I think about a lot of stuff, whether stuff I've been through, stuff I've seen, firsthand, secondhand, thirdhand, regardless, whatever. And I remember talking on this very podcast, a few Thinking Out Louds ago about, the streets and things of that nature. And I couldn't help but keep going back to the streets and how things can be avoided. I'm gonna say, I want to wrap it up in 20 minutes. I don't want to be in it too long, because then you start saying stuff you don't want to say, you shouldn't say. So I'm gonna say this, right? As the older know that I get, the more I want to be proactive than reactive. So, I see they got the justice for, and they got her name, and I'm all for that, right? All the time. I do feel like in this situation, or just in situations like this, when you talk about justice for senseless killing, which we starting to see on a regular basis, or have been seeing on a regular basis for years, decades even now, it's always that's a reactive type of situation, right? And I always as an adult now, just my last 7 to 5 years of life, 5 to 7 years of life, I'm trying to get to a point where we can be proactive with these kind of things, right? And to me, being proactive is simply like knowing your surroundings and knowing the people you're putting in danger when you're doing certain things. Now, mind you, this particular situation made me think this. I'm not saying by any means that this is the reason for this situation. I want to get that clear. I don't know anything about the situation other than what's been put in the media. I don't know no behind the scenes. I haven't checked for behind the scenes. Don't want to know any behind the scenes. Just this situation got me thinking about other situations and alike situations like it that happens on a daily basis. And I come to this conclusion that it is a senseless killing, for one, because if it's a drive-by shooting, I'm only assuming that there was an intended target and that kid was not the target, right? Like in most situations, I don't think people go on these quote-unquote missions, or what they say sliding or whatever, to go kill a kid or to go shoot a kid, right? The initial intent is for an opposite, or somebody they are in at war with, for better wording, right? And that is why I feel like that's the downside, the negative, the bad, the ugly of the streets. The downside of this is that innocent people get hurt way too often. Innocent people get hurt way too often, and a lot of times it can be avoided if we be proactive and realize just for a split second who in our life matters. Like, what matters to us? You know, I see so many times people, they feel like they got to go outside and be gangster, be tough. And don't get me wrong, young kids, like, it's a testosterone thing. You think you got to do this. You feel like, oh, I gotta get this guy. I gotta do this. You don't have to do that. But I understand when you're young, you feel like you gotta do certain things based on your ego at the time, right? But as an adult, as you get older, when you see younger kids, you gotta talk to them. You gotta tell them like, yo, this ain't what you want to do. And I always keep saying, like, the streets. And this is from people that have spoken to me. When you in the streets, or when you live in the street life, or got a street persona, attitude, you talking about guns, killing, what you'll do, how you'll do it, you a boss, you this, you that, you start to subscribe to that. Even if you live in that lifestyle, you subscribe to it regardless. But if you're not, then you're forced to subscribe to that. But also, it's the energy you're putting around people that's viewing you a certain way. You might not be like that, but somebody might view you like that. So when they handle you, they're gonna handle you as if you like that. And then handling you like that, that's when you get the violence and the guns involved. You may not be a gunslinger, you may not have been shot about in life, you may not be tough, but that aura you presenting around yourself, that street persona you're giving yourself, these things you're saying, whether it's on the internet, whether it's to somebody else, whether it's how you carry yourself in the outside, whatever, it's following you. It's doing something with you, and it's going to cause people to handle you a certain way. Sidebar to that, if they have to handle you that way, you put so many people in jeopardy. When somebody has to handle you a certain way, as if they have to be careful, or they have to shoot you, or they have to have a gun when they're talking to you, or have to do this, have to be armed, and have to be some kind of violent, aggressive demeanor towards you in order to handle you or deal with you, because maybe they're fearful or whatever the case may be. You put everybody that love you at risk. Sorry, take that back. Well, that too, but you put everybody you love at risk. And at that very moment, anytime you talking tough, anytime you punk somebody, anytime you do something to somebody, if you're in the streets and you stealing and you robbing people, you putting people you love at risk, and people that love you at risk, because when they can't get you, they get the next best thing close to you. Now, granted, sometimes it's your brother, your cousin that's also in the streets, and I'm not glorifying it or saying that's fine, but when it comes to either a little kid that's not involved or a family member that's not involved, yeah, that's fine. Y'all on that lifestyle, y'all chose to do that. But in choosing to do that, once you commit to the streets, or once you commit to that type of behavior, that type of persona, demeanor, you got that aura around you as if you like that. That's it. Like, you pretty much saying, this is my personal opinion. My personal opinion, you saying, if you got kids, you saying F your kids. You saying F your sister, your brother, your mother, your uncle, your grandma, your auntie, your neighbors. Because like I said, you saying F anybody, you saying fuck anybody that loves you. Also, you saying fuck anybody you love, because in that field, in that line of work, and that entity, that whole aura, that's what it's about. It's about, but the new thing on the street, on the internet, is like, I got to get my lick back. And me doing something to some Joe Schmo you ain't going to care about ain't enough. And like I said, I want to make sure I'm clear. That situation just had me thinking about something I already talked about, because I spoke about it so many times. I'm not saying this has to do with that situation, or hasn't. I don't know, because I don't know anything about it. But it led me to think about things like this because of the area it was in, which is a high crime rate area. You know, it's a lot of crime over there, of course. And when they say drive-by, I'm only assuming when something says drive-by that there's an intended target. There has to be an intended target. Not has to be, but you know, people might shoot your windows, even stuff like that. Your mama house getting shot up. This is not cool things. These are things people do when they cannot reach you, or when they're trying to reach you, which is like I said, it's so many. It be so tenfold to why. Like the streets just ain't it. And that's my whole thing. Like, and if it's for some people, like, that's cool, because some people, they don't have no family. That's, you know, this is just me. I'm thinking out loud, mind you. I'm just want to put that. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't say I respect all gangbangers like that, but the ones that don't have family, I feel more, because I know that they most times they're in the gang because they don't have family. So that becomes their family. And then all other things that's going on, I can understand that. There's people in gangs who got a big family that love them. That's the only gang you need. You don't need no other gang besides the family that love you. And because it's a fad, because it's something to do, or because you feel like you have to be tough, or it's the cool thing to do, people do it and they subscribe to that. But like I said, when you commit to the streets, you decommit to your family. When you commit to the streets, you decommit to your kids, people who love you, people that you love. You commit to the streets, you saying, hey, look, I love y'all, but I love this more. And that's what it comes down to. Honestly, that's just my personal opinion. Somebody might say, no, I could love both, and I'm not here to debate none of that. I got my reasons why I feel that way. I feel that way because of things that can happen to people that has nothing to do with what's going on. There's people who get killed, badly hurt, beaten. Things just happen to them, lose their legs, lose their sight, break an arm. It's so much that can happen. You could just get caught in a crossfire. Like, no pun intended. You get caught in the crossfire. And that's somebody picking the streets over family. That's somebody saying, hey, I'm decommitting to you, but I'm committing to this. That's when it happens. Things like that happen when someone says, I'm picking this over that, all the time. And like I said, my thing is always, I try to think proactively, like, well, how could this not have happened? Not well, it would happen anyway. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking, like, how could it not have happened? And more talks like this is what we need. Like not what we need, but more talks like this is what need to be had with certain people. Because you need to know when you choose to do that. You ever have somebody say, my family don't love me, they kick me out, this, that, and third. Nah, they ain't kick you out. Like, nah, you chose the streets. That we need to go. I ain't trying to get shot. I got kids here. I don't want them to get shot. I don't want nothing to happen, because whatever you're doing outside, it's a revolving door. Whatever you're doing out there, it always come back to you. People that shoot people, they get shot. People that rob people, they get robbed. People that kill people, they get killed. It's a ongoing cycle. The streets is a known thing. You even got to be in the streets to know about it. But that's how I feel. I mean, I'm just not thinking a lot. I don't know if that was like too deep or too nothing like that, but I firmly believe that, like, yesterday that had me thinking that just because of the area, like I said, I don't know the ins and outs behind who, what, why, when, because if I did, I wouldn't get on here talking about it. I don't really, like I said, I don't solve cases for police and nothing like that, but this is somebody who had a full life ahead of them. They had nothing to do with this. But because, you got people that are committed to the streets over their loved ones, sometimes things like this happen. And it may not have nothing to do with that particular person, but I would just bet money that the victim was not the intended target. I would bet money on that the victim wasn't the intended target. I would hope not. But yeah, definitely didn't want to start the year off that deep. But another thinking out loud. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, or just message me privately. Let me know what you think about the video. Do it look good in 4K? It's so far away, I can't even see if I'm blurry, if I'm not blurry. If I am, sorry. Let me know if you like the jacket. Is it ugly? Do I look good in green? Let me turn around real quick. Let me show y'all the jacket. You know what I'm saying? The back part right there. You know what I'm saying? A little something. Shout out to Netgear once again for get me right. You know what I'm saying? Go shop with them, definitely. If you want you a jacket, I'll give you the price, and if you want to get it, cool. If not, I understand. Another episode of Thinking Out Loud, man. Hopefully my thoughts don't bother nobody. These are just my inner thoughts. Just got to release them. Been thinking about it all day. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 girls, so it's definitely a sad situation. I would never want to be in that situation. I wouldn't even get on here and talk about if I was in that situation. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get on. I don't even get into that. But yeah, man. Morning Masters podcast, man. We out Thinking Out Loud. Happy New Year. Do your thing. Set some goals, man. Set some goals for yourself. Small goals. Try to attain them each month. You know what I'm saying? Small goals, try to attain them each month. And I want to push y'all to just, if you know somebody that's having trouble with picking the streets or family or this, that, and third, sit them down, have that conversation, man. Like, I'm not saying that people they're gonna pick family, because like I said, when you're young like that, you're gonna pick whatever you want to pick. But just tell them the repercussions that come with it and show them that, shit be real. Because sometimes people don't know it's real until they the victim. So, One Masters Podcast, we out, man.